Been playing with the front two ports on these heads, trying to get pipes done. Doing okay. Got all these tacked in at the moment. I have to pull them off the actual manifold flange itself, and then fully weld these, put them back in, tack weld them, and then weld them on the inside into that flange. So they'll stay like this for a little while. So far I got that side and this side sort of coming down and out, so not doing too bad actually. I thought it was going to be a lot worse than what it is, but what I'm going to end up doing, I've got another box full of bends and stuff like that. I showed you that box last time, so needed a heap more to play with. They're not that expensive to buy, and I'll use them on something if I don't use them all on this. So so what I'm going to do is have these front ones on, these will have 90s coming out on both pipes going back, and what I'll do is I'm going to go get I'm going to go take these down to get them, I don't know, expanded, swelled up a little bit so they'll actually slip over like that. And that 90 that's going to come out of there, out of there coming back, those two will end up like slipping into what would be two pipes going back to the collector, held on with the spring. So I'm pretty sure that'll be a good thing. I mean, just with the heat expansion of where it's sitting, and plus I need it to split, because the other ones are going to come down from back here into that collector. So then we'll have the two pipes that I just showed you coming forward. They'll have the expansion joints on, and then these two will slip into them with springs, like you'd see on a motorcycle, to keep them together, because we need that to get these pipes out. So that manifold flange for the exhaust, sorry, I know the filming's pretty bad trying to look up in there, but they'll be cut in half. So the front two will be separate than the back two. They won't actually be one whole flange running across the head. They'll be cut into two pieces. So this front section can come out by itself, and then the rear section can come out by itself. So yeah, getting along. So we'll keep moving along with it. I'm going to go get them done tomorrow, get them swelled out. So because what I want to do is to be able to have these bends on both sides coming down at the same height on either side. I don't want them looking all wonky. So probably just a little bit lower than what the sump will be. It's got to go underneath this drag link for the steering, with a bit of space too. I don't want it, right up against it. It'll probably be 10, 15 mil or so below that. So yeah, we'll keep moving along with it. So the best way to explain this is the pipe going back, coming from the headers, which is essentially still part of the headers. So this is the slip joint that we're going to do to meet up with the pipes coming down. So with that brace that's down in the back there, I'm just going to go with what's level as we sit like this, because it doesn't matter if it's going a little bit uphill or a little bit downhill. I'm not worried about that. It's just if all four across here are running at the same level, essentially. So I've got this little handy magnetic level. So I'll be just going off that sight bubble to make it level, connecting it up with these pipes. So, essentially they've just got to go back and then just go straight back into this collector that I've got. It's fairly straightforward. Look, it's the plan I've got. Hopefully it works out. I've tried turning the steering and everything. Everything seems to clear. On hard lock it's getting close, but I'm not worried about hard lock stuff. So, we've got some pretty funky angles still coming out of here. They're not perfectly level coming down. But we'll just, we'll make them fit, a couple of pie cuts in there, and then that should all work out. So yeah, hopefully that all works. Through here and another one to go through over the top and come down, but I can't get that in. So they both got to come down the same way really to get it in, which is going to be above the clutch master slave cylinder here. So this side's going to be tricky. I mean, this side's not too bad. We've got plenty of clearance over the top of the starter motor. Obviously can't come down. Same thing, starter motor's in there, not enough clearance. So they will be just coming over the top of the bell housing and then out. So I'm not concerned about that side. This side has got a lot going on. We have steering box, clutch, slave cylinder. Yeah, it's going to be tricky, but like anything, we'll get it done. Now, I'm going to forewarn you that this rear port on this side is just going to look like junk. There's just not much I can do about it. It is just so tight where it's coming out of the port of the head and the clearance on top of that steering box. There's no way of doing it where it's going to look nice. I've tried even bashing a pipe down, squeezing it down just to see if I can get it out of there right. It's still not enough clearance. It is like, it's beyond tight. So I think what I might have to do, unfortunately, which you'll see here soon, is that I'm going to have to put a pipe up against it and then slot the side of that pipe for the port to just go straight into it. It's going to look ugly, but nothing I can do. So yeah, cracking on it right now. I did manage to get somewhat of a better angle on that rear port. That's the one that's going right up against the steering box. So as you can see, that's the difference in height, where that's a more flowing angle coming out of the manifold. That's a lot more aggressive. So essentially what I did is, if you think of like a truck stack where it's sort of cut directly straight from the straight part into the bend and then up, which I'm actually quite happy with. I thought I might have to get a little bit more aggressive than that, but it seems to have done it. So as you can see there, how much clearance it's sort of given it. So it's not as bad as what I thought. So yeah, keep moving along with it. I'm sorry I can't get you guys closer in on what's going on up in here. Clearly, as you know, it's bloody tight as to what's going on up in here. So but finally we're on the last primary tube. Now that doesn't mean that it's completely finished. It's just all the bends are being clocked and tacked together, and then we've got to pull it all back out and then finish weld it and then get it all back together and then put the collectors on it. But I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, which is good. So I'm stuffing around trying to get this one perfect, and it's hard because I almost need 3 hands. But we're slowly getting there. That was all just for one bolt. I am going to love the day when I put these on for the last time. There's some days I really question, what am I doing? Why am I doing this to myself? Oh, jeez. really got to get a new welder. This thing is just driving me nuts. Well, I think sometimes I probably underestimate how quickly I can get it done. I don't know. I'm pretty surprised actually that I've got those primaries, well, pretty much the full headers, complete in such a short period of time. I mean, as you know, I've been doing other videos, doing other things. So we've been doing other things to the car in the meantime. I've been doing this just quietly when I can get a chance to actually put some time into it. But I'm pretty happy. It's not the best, I'm not gonna lie. It's not I'm not a real good welder. Like, I want to blame my welder. I know this welder's no good. I've had another welder that's a cheaper one that's been a lot better than this one. I don't know what's going on with it. It either needs to go back in and get some repairs done to it, or I need to just get another welder. But yeah, it plays up like you do sheet metal, like small spot welds, and it'll go into a overheat mode. And then if you're laying down a weld on a 6mm piece of steel, it loves it. So, and then yeah, as you saw, right, the last tack I want to put on, it's just playing up. It won't actually lay a tack properly. So I don't know what's going on with it. I think it's time just to get rid of it, but I don't want to put all the blame on that welder. You know, I'm not the best welder that's out there. I'm not going to claim I am. I can put a weld in, no worries. But no, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty happy with the way it's routed. I'll get you in here in a minute, but you know, most of it is pretty easy to come off. I think all I've got to do is take the sway bar off. But I'm not too sure. I think it actually will all come off without actually removing anything else off the car. So it's not interfering with anything. So I think usability, getting it all back together and then getting it on the head is going to be the pain, because it is a two-piece thing. It's going to be a pain sort of getting it together and then bolting them to the head. So I think it'll be a two-man job trying to get that all bolted up properly once it's all fully welded, and I'm actually going to get these ceramic coated. So I'm not too sure yet what color. I'm kind of thinking white. I think white would actually suit the era of the car. A lot of the cars back when, they used to sort of, I don't know if it was a powder coat or whatever they did, but they did their headers white. So I think we'll probably go white to back here, or maybe a silver. I'm not too sure yet. I'd love to get you guys' input, because I'm totally torn as to which one I want to do, what color I want to go. So, I mean, from here, from this flange back, just the standard exhaust on, it's just going to be painted black. I'm not going to go too sick with that, but you know, all this we're going to see from the front of the car and from the side of the car. So I do kind of want to show it off a bit. So I don't know, tossing and turning. Honestly, I would love to get you guys' input as to what you think I should do color-wise. I'm not going to do something lairish like red or bright yellow or anything like that, but I'm unsure. I mean, I've seen what it's like a chrome, but it's not really chrome. It's more of like a bright silver that they do. So it's pretty much what it looks like now, but just a little bit brighter and a little bit more consistent in its color, or white. I think I'm leaning towards white. So anyway, I'll get you in here and you can have a look at how I've routed these primaries. So I know I've shown you the two front primaries before, but I'll just run you right through it. So as with all the tight clearances, I actually got pretty good. So as much clearance as I can give it around things. And then we've got them with that spring slip joint. So, you know, it's going to have leakage around here. I might actually put a high temp RTV in there as I put these pieces together just to seal that up. I think it's definitely worth it. It's going to be a pain trying to get them out once they've been RTV'd in, because you know, once that seals in, it's almost going to be like, you know, like a super glue style stuff. It's just, we're going to have to whack it to actually get it to separate. So, I don't know. I might see if they leak. If they leak, then, you know, it's not that hard. I just pull the front portion off and then, you know, put some sealer in there. But I've made sure that these springs are loaded up against the end of that expansion. So they're pushed in nice and hard. So it should be right. I think it'll be right. I think we'll get a bit of leakage. As long as it doesn't sound bad, like you get that sort of, it's almost like a knocking sound that you get out of an exhaust sometimes when it's got a leak. So if it's got that, it's definitely going to fix that. So I'll just step back a bit and show you what we've got. So that's the look underneath the car. So they're pretty much even. They're probably off by, you know, 5 or 10 mil, but as you can see, the outer is further out than the inner on both sides. So I have sort of tried to get as much symmetry in them as possible. So yeah, look, I haven't seen them, you know, on the ground outside, having a good look at them, but that's why I've had, you probably noticed in the previous videos and things, I had this weird bracket thing hanging off here. Well, that was the hold to the bottom of these pipes to keep them level. So on the back here, I'm yet to pull these out and weld the inner flange, but I've had to take the starter motor out to actually get in there, just to quickly tack them back in to give them their position as to what they needed, because I final weld the pipes and then put the exhaust flange back on, put the pipes back in their position, tack weld them, pull them out, and then finish weld them on the inside. So yeah, I'm yet to still do that, but I've got to pull them off anyway because we need to weld these collectors up. These are a weird collector, so I've got to heat these corners in, push them right in, and then just get in there and finish weld. So what you're watching is me doing the finish weld down on the inside in between the pipes, down in there, as you can see, so it doesn't leak out in between the pipes there. But yeah, I've still got to finish welding the outside of these collectors here. So yeah, that side sort of worked out pretty well, coming over the top of the bell housing. Plenty of room, as you can see. They're not touching, they're pretty close, but they're not touching. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way it's sort of come out. Now this one was the harder side. It's also hard to show you in there, but that's what I went with. So they look a bit weird, they look a bit, you know, hard, but what I needed to do was keep away from that slave cylinder for the clutch, try and keep the heat away from it. So, you know, I could have gone, you know, further over. I know it's hard, sorry, I keep jiggling around to try and show you. I could have come across the top there, but I wouldn't have been able to get the pipe out. And that's going to be the biggest issue. I don't want to have to mount the pipes onto the engine and then put the engine back in and all that sort of stuff. These pipes come out with relative ease, you know, just leaving the engine in. So it clears all the steering. I've had the steering pitman arm right across. It doesn't touch any of that. So, you know, it's and the same here. I was a bit worried that was going to come too far over and touch here, but no, it's pretty good. It's all worked out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. And you know, for my first time, you know, I'm pretty proud of it. You know, I know it's not the best. You know, I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there that could have absolutely killed it a lot more than what I've done. But that's not what this channel is about. It's about doing it yourself. So just doing it here in the shed, that's the way I want to do it. I don't want to pay other people to do it. I want to tackle it and try and nut it out and figure it out myself. So I'm pretty happy with that. So the remote oil filter that's mounted to the block, that portion that's mounted to the block needs to come out just to get those pipes out. That's the sort of clearances we're dealing with. It's ridiculous. So there you have it. There's essentially self-made headers. I'm pretty happy with those. I'm not going to lie. There's a few bits and pieces that, don't look so good, but, this works. This will work, no worries. I'm not looking to make any sort of back-purged, TIG welded set of headers that flow 1,000 horsepower and that. I mean, this motor's going to barely make 500, I think. We'll soon see on a dyno what it's going to make, but I'm really, really happy with these. Essentially I thought it was going to take a lot more time to get these together than, what it's taken so far, really. I mean, I think I just freaked myself out with, not ever being involved in doing headers before. So, no, I'm really happy with those. I mean, you'll notice that the flanges are a little bit wobbly. They're just sitting together. Once these are bolted together, it will sort of twist and turn a little bit to get them in. But they are held in together with these springs, so they are essentially just a universal motorbike exhaust spring type thing to hook over the little clips that we've got welded down on here, and squeezes those sections together. So hopefully we're not going to have any leakages in here. If we do, we'll just address them at that time. As I said, we're getting these ceramic coated, so they're going to build up a bit of a layer on the outside of that tube and then the inside of this tube. So they are going to be tighter again. I mean, these are a tight fit to begin with, but it's going to be tighter again. So we may still get like a little puff of exhaust gas coming out somewhere. And look, I'll address it at the time. If it's really bad, then we'll go ahead and try and seal it with some sort of RTV or something like that. But if it's only just a tiny leak, I'm not going to get too worried about it. If it's massive, then okay, we have to deal with it. But no, I'm really happy with those. So like I said, self-made. This is what I plan on doing. I could have paid a guy to make these things, but I don't want to. I want to try it. I want to try and get this done. I want this car to be mine. I want to have a crack at everything on this. So I'm really happy with the way those turned out. I think they'll be completely fine. So the next portion of the exhaust, which will be in another video from the collector's back, I ended up getting some 3-inch hooker aero chambers, these are called. So after listening to a few cars cruising around, I was asking a few guys what they were running on their car. And this is what's sort of the consensus coming back. So these sound really tough. They've got a really good crackle to them. So it'll be interesting to see what they're like once we start this car up and hear it for the first time. So, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to run these with an X pipe and see if we can't get it all the way out the back. So I think we should be right. Being that the suspension height is still pretty tall in the back, this thing's not slammed, we've got a lot of room to get over and get out the back. So I'd prefer it to get all the way out the back rather than, doing some diff dumper style stuff. Because it's just for the fumes and stuff, get the fumes right out the back. So that'll be on another episode. Anyway, guys, I hope you liked the episode. I know it was a bit long. I tried to cut out, as much as I could, really, without cutting out too much of the process. As you know, one of the previous videos, I would have said it was going to be months and months. I think it's probably taken about 2 months. That doesn't mean I worked on it for 2 months. It's just been on and off 2 months, couple of hours here, couple of hours there to get these things done. So, look, I hope it inspires you to just give it a go, mate. Like, this is what I'm all about. It's self-made. Stop paying people to do stuff when, you could do it yourself. It's not really that big a deal. I understand if you want perfect, if you're running turbo cars and all that sort of stuff, that's fine. Go out and pay someone to do it. That's fine. But, this car, I'm building it myself. This is what I want to do. So, I'm happy to have it a little bit on the ratty side. It doesn't have to be perfect for me. I've had perfect cars and, it's sort of not me anymore, really. I'm not really into that sort of stuff. So, I'd rather say I built it. I built it from top to bottom. I did everything. So go out and give it a crack, guys. I'll see you in the next episode.